Namaskar, this is Akhilesh Bhargava. Welcome to Tit-Bits on Business and Finance with me. The various agencies and authorities continue to investigate the entire scammy fraud of ILFS, the giant 1,32,000 crore fraud that shook India last year. The agencies that are investigating the affairs of ILFS at the moment include the ED, the SFIO, the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, the Income Tax Department, the NFRA, and the CBI. And the findings of each of them do continue to shock us even now. The NFRA, or the National Financial Reporting Authority, which is India's new audit watchdog, has been auditing and looking into the quality of audit conducted by Deloitte of the ILFS Group. Deloitte has been the lead auditor of ILFS for over a decade, and NFRA has been looking into the kind of audit that was conducted, leading to this kind of a fraud that has been unearthed. The findings of NFRA too are shocking. They very clearly establish that this lead auditor Deloitte had been an active accomplice, very complicit in the entire fraud that took place, and they were aware of all that was happening. Before we go ahead into the findings of NFRA, let's just have a quick look at the relevant facts of ILFS. ILFS as a group had over 345 companies. Most of them were dormant shell entities which had been used to launder money. There were a few active ones, the flagship ones, and the key one in all of these was IFIN, the financial subsidiaries entity of the ILFS group. IFIN was actually a loss-making company. It had lost heavily in giving bogus loans. It had lost heavily by way of money siphoned away due to bogus expenses, and its net worth had been eroded. It had indulged in money laundering. It had indulged in showing bogus capital and bogus loans and round tripping of funds. And despite this entire major scam in the balance sheets of IFIN, what happened was the reverse was shown. A very rosy picture was shown. The net worth had been totally eroded and it was negative, but a good positive net worth was shown by IFIN by showing bogus profits. SFIO has recasted the financial statements of IFIN for a 5-year period from 2014 to 2018. And what turns out is that as against an actual loss of 1,602 crores during this period of 2014 to 2018, IFIN actually showed a profit of 830 crores during that period. Its financial statements had been completely manipulated, and despite that, Deloitte, its auditor, gave it a clean chit, gave it a true and fair report without any qualifications to bother. The role of Deloitte in this entire scenario has been very active, and for this it got a lot of monetary gains. Deloitte very clearly compromised its independence and integrity, and it did that for a price. It was given a lot of non-audit lucrative assignments by the ILFS group, and for which it got a huge sum of about 20 crores per year. In fact, Deloitte was in charge of managing the group audits to ensure that the audit reports of the entire group companies show a good rosy picture and conceal the entire scam that was there. The findings of NFRA and all the other agencies point that Deloitte was completely aware of what was happening. That is why, after the managing director of IFIN was arrested and his other colleagues were arrested, the managing director was a gentleman called Ramesh Bawa. The spotlight of the investigation agencies shifted to Deloitte and its partners, who signed these scammy audit reports of the ILFS group and of IFIN. It is because of these clean audit reports that were given, certifying a bogus financial statement and a bogus rosy picture, that IFIN used to manage to get a AAA credit rating, which only hoodwinked many others. NFRA has been looking into the audit quality processes of Deloitte for the past few months, and its findings are certainly shocking. As per NFRA, Deloitte failed to comply with the basic auditing standards required to be followed mandatorily for the conduct of the audit of such a company. NFRA says that Deloitte compromised its independence, and it did that for a consideration. It was given very prohibited non-audit assignments for it to actually look the other way, or rather to certify all those bogus figures. According to the NFRA, the quality controls for the audit were completely missing. They were missing in the systems and processes that were adopted, such that severely inadequate and ineffective audit reports on the Deloitte Group had been issued, on the ILFS Group had been issued by Deloitte. The NFRA further says that there was no proper justification whatsoever for Deloitte to issue those kind of audit reports which were showing a very clean situation and which said that the balance sheets of the ILFS Group are true and fair. The NFRA further says that Deloitte overlooked the fact that the net worth of the ILFS Group had turned negative. It consciously showed a positive net worth. It also said that it overlooked the misuse of funds by the ILFS Group and also the bogus capital that was raised. In other words, it says Deloitte did not report all these major lacunas. NFRA is clearly of the opinion that Deloitte compromised its independence and integrity, and the entire audit was a sham. According to NFRA, the audit partners who signed the reports of ILFS Group did not have any adequate justification for signing these kind of reports, and that is why the MCA had recommended that Deloitte be debarred from its audit practice for a period of at least 5 years. The reality in India's corporate governance structure is that the first level of checks and balances that we have on the promoter directors comes through the independent directors on the board of the company. The independent directors are supposed to keep a check on the promoter directors of the entity. The next level is the auditors. The auditors have unfettered, unrestrained access to the books, accounts and affairs of the company they audit, and they are required to state the truth in their audit reports. They have the access which nobody else has to the books and accounts and records of the company concerned, and thus after the audit report is issued, every other person who deals with the company depends on these reports, because those persons don't have access to the records of the company that was audited, which the auditors had. Thus, bankers, lenders, vendors, creditors, shareholders, investors, they all rely on an audit report. And that is why the integrity and independence of auditors has to be impeccable. And sadly, Deloitte compromised this integrity and independence. The world's largest audit firm, which is Deloitte, which had a billing of $43.5 billion last year, seems to have compromised its integrity in the case of ILFS only for monetary greed. And that is where the problem lies. The issue here is that if the sentry to a house himself is willing to let the robbers come in, according to us, this sentry is more guiltier than the robbers themselves, because the owners of the house had trusted the sentry. The sentry here was Deloitte. Deloitte let the robbers loot the entity and they kept quiet, certainly for a price. According to us, the NFRA should initiate the most severe punishment that is possible for Deloitte, because if we want to clean up corporate India, the cleanup will have to start from the auditor's tables, because if the auditors bark, the theft cannot take place. And these are cases where the auditors did not bark because they were given an inducement. This is Akhilesh Bhargava signing off till we meet again. Namaskar.
Now be the first to know about the latest updates on our new news app. Go on your Android or iOS, search for HW News Network. Download our app, choose the language you prefer to get updates in, and be up to date with the latest news.
If you like this video, please share it and we would love to hear your comments in the comments section down here. Also, please do like our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter to get minute-to-minute news updates. For more such shows and videos, subscribe to our YouTube channel.